Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
So welcome back to Street Switch Photography. Yes, I didn't get my I didn't quite get everything in just then. I haven't used this for a while. So today, this is about Trump says US will run Venezuela after seizing President Maduro, whatever his name is, in a military assault. We're going to see how biased or how unbiased the BBC have actually been about this. Now, what I'd like you to bear in mind whilst watching this video is how many Venezuelans have actually been out celebrating on the streets after President Trump went in there and taken this bloke away because he's a narcotics dealer. And because he's a greedy arsehole sat there eating steak whilst his people starve to death. So let's see what the BBC say about it. They're going to try and come up with some sort of, I don't know, I don't know what they said. I've not watched this yet, so let's watch it.
The United States military has carried out a large-scale attack on Venezuela and captured its president, Nicolas Maduro, flying him out of the country along with his wife. In the last few minutes, the couple have just arrived at a military airbase in New York.
Now that's got to be a pretty hard fall for him, considering how much money he had, became a millionaire off the back of drug dealers and everything else. This man is not a nice person. Over half, or I'd say at least 80% of the Venezuelans wanted rid of this man. We've got here in Great Britain, all the lefties actually going out and protesting this. And I bet the Venezuelans are sitting there thinking, what the actual hell are they doing? The reason they're doing that is because the Palestine one is running out of fuel now. So they found something else they can latch onto, like the parasitic insects that they are, like the viruses that they are, and they can now protest about this because it's fresh out that pond, isn't it, for them,
to face charges of drugs trafficking and narco-terrorism.
There you go.
President Trump says the United States is going to run Venezuela for the time being.
Now, I don't quite know how that's going to work, how Trump is actually going to run Venezuela for the time being. Will they have an election of some description? Will they, I don't know how all that will work.
Tonight, we report from inside the country. The BBC's Vanessa Silva is in the capital, Caracas.
So get ready for the propaganda from the BBC, because you know for a fact they don't like Trump because he's suing the actual arse off of these bumholes.
And watch the American attack unfold.
I wouldn't call it an attack, I'd call it a saviour.
Handcuffed, blindfolded, captured from his country.
Oh, boo-hoo. What a way to start. Let's make everybody feel sorry for him. He starved his own people. He was dealing drugs with the cartel.
This is Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro being sent to the U.S. after being seized by U.S. forces.
Impartial, they say.
Pictures posted by President Trump on social media appear to show him and his top officials watching the overnight operations unfold.
Now, just keep your eye on the footage. Again, I haven't watched this yet. Keep your eye on this footage because we know how the BBC like to re-edit footage to make it look as bad as possible for Donald Trump or anybody from what they like to call the far right.
It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. It was dark and it was deadly.
Did you notice the cut?
But captured along with his wife.
Not saying anything, they've not left in anything about what he did for the Venezuelan people. You need to go and watch the actual bit, what he actually said. You can't believe anything the BBC actually say nowadays, trust me.
Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice.
The capture led many wondering who will now run Venezuela. And then this.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
Nicolas Maduro.
But they cut him off right at the point, didn't they?
Maduro has led Venezuela for more than a decade. Now, Washington says he will.
Now, I'm guessing they're going to try and make him look as good as possible here. That's a guess.
Face charges including terrorism and drug trafficking in the United States. His capture was part of a huge military operation.
That wasn't huge.
With Venezuelans
If you think that was a huge military operation compared to what the actual Americans are capable of, then you are fucking deluded.
ripped from their sleep by loud explosions in military sites across the country.
Congratulations to the Venezuelan people and a happy new year. What a gift, getting rid of that complete and utter dictator arsehole they had as their leader. He refused to leave his seat after they had an election. He has absolutely no democracy whatsoever.
Residents cowered in fear as the U.S. military struck an airstrip and a military base in the heart of the capital, Caracas.
Now, I believe there were 2 American soldiers actually injured during this operation as well, and that was a shootout between the president's armed guards and I think it was either the Navy SEALs or some of the one particular faction of the American army.
For months, Washington has sent troops, warships, and aircraft to the Caribbean. It has seized.
Now, I'd like to know when this footage was actually taken from, because I've got an inkling that this might not be from the actual operation.
Oil tankers near Venezuela and carried out those.
This is not footage from what happened that evening. This is footage of what Trump was doing before.
Of strikes on alleged drug boats, killing at least 110 people.
So they've not mentioned that bit, have they? So they've used footage from other things. Again, the BBC doing what they do best. Again, impartial to the truth, I'd say.
The U.S. has long accused
Why is he
Nicolas
dressed
Maduro
like Ali G?
of running a criminal network. Claims he denies. Just days ago, he said he was open to talks.
Yeah, because he shit himself. He was open to talks with President Trump because he knew he was going to get caught, and he knew he's now going to be spending the rest of his natural life in a supermax jail where he friggin' well belongs.
If they want to seriously discuss an agreement to combat drug trafficking, we're ready. If they want Venezuelan oil, is Venezuela ready for U.S. investment?
Now, you will get some people saying that the Americans only have done this for the oil and all the rest of the bullshit and all the rest of the propaganda and the twisting of lies from the far left that come out because they've got something else they can now protest about instead of just protesting on the Palestine and Gaza front and all that crap that they usually do because they're paid protesters. They can earn a few more quid out of this and do a bit of overtime now, can't they, for the British government?
Like with Chevron?
Diane Abbott will be absolutely over the moon.
Whenever, wherever, and however they want.
Venezuelans have been living under the threat of U.S. military action for weeks.
It's not a threat. Under the threat of military action. It's not a threat. It has saved them, hence they're celebrating.
The U.S. has now acted on that threat, and most Venezuelans,
It clearly wasn't a threat, it was a fucking promise.
supporters and opponents of President Nicolas Maduro are simply concerned about what comes next.
Look, you see the streets empty. People are in their own thing, buying things to go back home.
Well, yeah, that's happening here in Great Britain as well, right now. We buy things to go back home, because that's where you take it.
A lot of uncertainty in the entire country for everyone. You, me, someone walking. What will happen tomorrow?
So there wasn't uncertainty before. I'm going to try and find out who this guy actually is and whether he is a paid interviewer or interviewee, should I say.
What will happen in the next hour? Nobody knows, but well, it's an enigma that we are living.
It's an enigma.
Right now.
Many Venezuelans wanted Nicolas Maduro out. He was widely considered to have stolen the recent presidential election.
Not considered, he did steal the local presidential election. He did steal it, not may have done. It's not speculation.
But as the hours pass, the full realization.
They like showing this footage of all the bombs going off, don't they, to try and like make Trump look bad. And when what is actually done is freed all them Venezuelan people.
Of what has
Stupid.
happened is hitting
The
Venezuela.
propaganda the BBC pump out is absolutely disgusting, and I hope Trump sues the absolute crap out of them and then they have to shut down as a company.
Despite these historic events, the future remains as uncertain as ever. Vanessa Silva, BBC News, Caracas.
Well, President Trump said no US service personnel were killed in today's military action in Venezuela, and that he's ready to order a second and much larger attack on the country
Good on him.
if necessary, with boots on the ground. Let's go live to Washington now, and our correspondent Tom Bateman.
What I would like to point out is our spineless yellow coward of a Prime Minister was soon one of the first on the internet actually to actually come out and say, we had nothing to do with this at all. And that's basically how he talks. We had nothing to do with this at all. We did not attack anybody. No, we did not. But now he's got to go and lick President's arse to see what he says about it, hasn't he?
What more can you tell us about the planning and the execution of this American military operation?
Well, pretty much, Ben, as each hour has passed today, we've got more remarkable details about the nature of this operation, including a briefing from anonymous US officials who said...
Anonymous US official lefties, does he mean?
That it was a CIA informant within Mr. Maduro's inner circle that was giving real-time location details to the American military.
Who's now £50 million richer, by the way.
That enabled them to find him. That in addition to the use of stealth drones that were tracking him, and also the revelation from the president himself that elite army Delta force was actually pursuing Mr. Maduro towards the steel door of a safe room, and he was halfway through the door trying to close it but couldn't get it shut when they managed to capture him before he was helicoptered out. All of that, I think, a sign of the very clear imbalance of forces in all this, a 3-month-long military build-up by the Americans in the Caribbean.
Well, don't give narcotics to people to sell and ruin people's lives then, and don't let your people starve while you sit there eating the most expensive steak actually prepared by a top-class chef.
You can see clearly the Venezuelan military didn't stand a chance in all of this. But that takes you then to the key question of how that force, how that power now is going to be used, and that extraordinary moment where Mr. Trump said the US will now run Venezuela. He also made no secret of the fact that...
Now, if you were any normal person, I wouldn't say like myself, but like myself, the way you would take that line is we are going to take control of Venezuela and everything else. So I take that what they're going to do is they're going to make sure the Venezuelan people are looked after and are okay and have everything they need until there can be a democratic election for the smooth takeover and they run their own country again. That is how I take it. But how would the lefties take that? Anybody of a sound mind would take it the way I've taken it, I think. No, they'll be like, no, they're not doing that. They're going in there to pinch all the oil, to do this, to do that, and start making up complete and utter bullshit stories.
One of his major objectives here is American access to Venezuela's oil.
There you
now
go.
That amounts to...
Now, I think what happened was Venezuela cut off America from buying the oil or put big sanctions and stuff like that on it or something along those lines. There's much more to this story than what people actually realise. And believe me, the Venezuelans and that bloke was a absolute monster.
I think one of the biggest foreign policy gambles of his second term here. I was talking to a resident of Caracas earlier who supports the opposition there, who said she was celebrating when she heard that Mr. Maduro had been...
Now, I'll give credit as BBC that they actually said that one person was celebrating. There is way more than one person celebrating in Venezuela right now. This was probably the first morning they woke up and actually felt good about their country.
Taken away, a moment of justice.
It was a communist government that they had. He was a communist Stasi bumhole, that man was.
She said, but was then deeply disappointed after she saw Mr. Trump speak. Concerns among the opposition there that this will be replacing Mr. Maduro with the will of the Trump administration and the remnants of his regime instead of the will of the Venezuelan people.
Tom?
Incorrect. He will be there until they can have a democratic vote. That is what Trump will do. I'm not going to go any further into this because I think there's no need to. We can see how the BBC are actually trying to play this out and trying to make it look. Their propaganda tool, as usual, the propaganda machine, which is the BBC, run by the government, and they say what they want to say. Again, Keir Starmer did come out in public and say we had nothing to do with this because he's a yellow, spineless coward. This has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and hit the notification bell, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.
Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.